Are you three? So today is World Book Day. Happy World Book Day. And in order to celebrate World Book Day, we did say that this week's activities were going to be revolving around the idea of reading. And yesterday we had a look at a book that we had looked at together in school, The Twits. And in doing that, you created a rhyming couplet based upon the roly-poly bird rhyme that we looked at together. Today, we're going to be meeting another author, and he's going to be explaining and describing to us about his love of poetry and how he likes to be creative with his ideas that he has, and how he plays around with words, a bit like we talked about with Roald Dahl did in his writing yesterday as well. So we're going to be looking at a video that can be found on the World Book Day website. There's actually a number of authors that have made contributions to this website and have given different ideas and different activities. So if you fancy it at some point today and you want to go and have a look at the website, there might be an author on there that you have come across before, and you can find out a little bit about their background and how they have become the writer that they have today. The one that we are going to look at, though, is a poet and an author, actually. So let me just share the screen with you, and rather than me introducing him, I will let him introduce himself. So we're going to watch this video, and before I just play it, I'm just going to make sure that hopefully the video works in the best way it can, which means I will disappear for a while. So let's watch this video.
Hello, my name's Joseph Coilo. I'm a children's author and poet. I write lots of different things like poetry collections, like Werewolf Club Rules and Overheard in a Tower Block. I also write picture books, like Luna Loves Library Day and If All the World Were. But not only that, I also dabble in non-fiction, and this is my non-fiction book, How to Write Poems, which is all about writing poems. I love writing poems and have done for many years. Poems are great to write on any subject. You can quickly write a poem from beginning to end in half an hour to get a nice first draft. However, once you've got that first draft, it's really important that you edit and redraft like your teachers tell you to, so that you can get the best poem in existence. I write lots of poems about lots of different things. When I was young, I would write lots of poems about what I saw around me, about my feelings and emotions. That can be a really great way to start writing poetry. If you think about how you're feeling, if you're feeling angry, you can write an angry poem. If you're feeling sad, you can write a sad poem. If you're feeling happy and excited, you can write a happy and excited poem. Poetry is also great because there can be lots of rules in poetry, but there can also be no rules at all. Sometimes I write free verse poems that have absolutely no rules. I'm the boss, I make up the rules, which means I can write a list poem, which just has lots of words, one following the other, or I can write a poem that goes totally crazy and makes no sense, a nonsense poem. However, if you're someone who likes following rules, that likes a creative restriction, then there's lots of different forms in poems. You can write poems such as sonnets and haikus and limericks, poems that have set structures. It's a bit like doing a crossword or a puzzle where you have to make sure you've got the right number of syllables or words or the right rhyme patterns in your poem, and it can be a huge amount of fun. I also love writing poems because it forces me to focus on the world around me, to look for details, to look at the shape of a flower or a tree, to think about a moment in time, or to maybe write a poem about someone special, someone who's important to me. I hope you guys go out and write lots of fantastic poems. Poems with lots of structure, poems with no structure at all, crazy poems, happy poems, sad poems, serious poems, poems that make you laugh, poems that make you and your friends think. I love reading poems. You can pick up a poetry book, a poetry anthology, and just flick through and read a poem very quickly. There are even shape poems and concrete poems. Now that might sound a bit weird, but a concrete poem is just a poem in a shape. So it's almost like a picture. So you can read a poem, but it's like you're looking at a piece of art. That's what I love about reading poems. There are poems for everyone. Silly poems, creepy poems. Some of my favourite poems are quite creepy and spooky. I hope you go out there and find some poems that you like, poems that you enjoy reading, poems that you can just dip in and out of. You might get a poetry book that you might want to read from beginning to end, which is fine. Or you might just want to dip in and out. Maybe on your way to school you read one poem. Maybe in the morning at breakfast time you read a bit of a poem, or in the afternoon, or share a poem with your friend. That's the great thing about poetry. It's so quick and easy to have fun reading them. My Share a Story challenge is for you to write a poem and then share it. In my book, How to Write Poems, there's a whole section on nature poems, complete with space for you to write your own. Writing a nature poem is really easy. All you have to do is go out into the great outdoors, breathe in the fresh air, notice the trees, the flowers, the animals, get inspired to write a poem. You can even write a poem on a leaf. Find your favourite leaf and then write a poem on it. The way you can do that is by looking closely at the leaf first of all. Noticing the colours, the shapes, if it's got any tears in it, the way the light reflects off of it. Use all those things to inspire a poem. I've written a poem on this leaf using a felt tip pen. I've said, yellow crayons merge to green grass, a puzzle work of colours. My challenge to you is to write a poem on a leaf, just like this, and then share that poem with your friends or your families, or in school, in a school assembly, or to another class. I wish you the best of luck writing and sharing your poems. I would like to share with you a poem from my poetry collection, A Year of Nature Poems, with illustrations by Kelly Louise Judd. The poem I want to share is from the month of March, and it is called March. It's all about daffodils. When I was researching this book, I discovered that there are 12 different types of daffodils, 12. So I thought that would be perfect to include in a sonnet, because a sonnet has 14 lines. So I could dedicate each of the first 12 lines to a different daffodil. It starts off with a little introduction that goes like this. The humble daffodil comes in many forms. There are 12 types to be exact, each with their own unique style. And here is the sonnet. Trumpet, loud enough for eyes to hear them. Long, large cups, rabbit grail draught of spring. Small cups, whispering the colours of gems. Double time, their star-scrunched melodies ring. Triandrus, the three-stamened angel's tear. Cyclaminius, ears swept back to quench first. Jonquilla, rush like leaves, spiked through with fear. Tazetta, sacred lily paper hearst. Poeticus defines the flower's form. Wild yells ragged from roadside and verges. Butterfly, lamb delicate, pollen storm. Miscellaneous, blooms for all urges. The daffodili, a discipled feast, an escape from the sin of winter's beast.
Okay, so that then gave you a little bit of an insight, hopefully, into the world of poetry. And in that, we heard about the reason why Joseph liked writing poetry, because he does other types of books as well. But he particularly likes poetry because there are some poems that follow rules and some poems that don't follow any rules. So you can choose a style that fits you really. If you like to follow rules, you can choose a certain type of poem that follows a pattern, the rhyming pattern or the syllables that are included in there. Or you can choose one that's free verse, which means that you can just do it in your own unique way. So it was quite interesting to hear why he likes those different types and what works best for him. And we did hear an example of a sonnet, which is a type of poem at the end there, which was all about daffodils. I never knew there were 12 different types of daffodils. Now, I have included a copy of that poem in the OneDrive folders. If you wanted to have a look at it written down, because sometimes it's easier to read it as well as listening to it as well, then you can have a little look there and just see how it is set out and how it is organised in the sonnet way that he was describing. But his challenge to you within the video was to write a poem on a leaf. And to do that, in order to write your poem, to think about nature around you. So to go outside and to look at the leaves, to look at what is going on around and get those ideas and record them down on a leaf. Now, he showed us an example of how he did that, writing on with his felt tip pen. But we're going to look at how you maybe want to approach this task today, different ways in which you can do it. And then, as he said, share your poem. Okay, we'll talk about how we could possibly share it afterwards. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is to get your leaves. So you could go outside and have a look at the leaves. Now they're outside. If I'm looking outside my window here, there's a lot of trees at the moment still haven't got their leaves on them, but there should be around and about a selection of leaves that you can find. However, if you're struggling, in the OneDrive folder, we have put some templates for you to have a little look at and to see the outlines of those shapes there if you want to, okay? But once you have got either your leaves from outside or your template that you are using from the folder, I'm just going to try and share this with you again so that we can see it properly. There we go. Okay, so then we're going to think about how we can use them to create a poem. So I've just put a few ideas here to hopefully give you a bit of inspiration in how you can set yours out. So there's one picture over here that we can see. Now this actually looks like this has been written in a leaf that is still on the tree. And this is actually a quote that somebody has written on there. So you can see that much like in the video, they have written a collection of words on just the one leaf there that we can see, okay? But these ones over here, and again, they've been done slightly differently, but both of these have just got leaves that have got one word written on them. So we've got a branch here that has been taken off, which has got the individual words written on each of the leaves there. And these are just words which are important to them. So we've got hope, joy, freedom, safety, and so on. So they have gone about writing one word on each individual leaf. Now that might be something that you could maybe do to create your poem of your nature poem, okay, whether you're concentrating on the leaf itself or whether you're thinking about nature in general. So you could just write one word on each of the different leaves and then arrange them in some way. And we can see here that we have got individual leaves. Now, I think on these leaves here, they've written down their key spelling words. There's like lots of our common exception words on there. So that might be a way for them to remember their spellings that they're learning. But they have written on their leaves and arranged them and set them out. So again, you could maybe do that with your leaves. And then once you have written on your leaves, whether it's a proper leaf or whether it's from the template folder that's in the OneDrive, you can then share your poem. Now, it could be that you share it with people in your house and you show them what you've done and you talk about why you've done it in that way. It could be that you take a picture of it and you send it to us on Seesaw. You could maybe email us like you used to as well. It's entirely up to you on how you share it and who you share it with, but it's always nice to share your thoughts and your ideas. So it's a bit of a creative one today. It's a little bit of your own thoughts and your own ideas, because that's what poetry should be. It should be your way of communicating how you are feeling about things, how you are feeling about the nature that is outside. And this time of year now is a fantastic time of year. We're in the first week of spring, first week of March. Spring is just around the corner. We can start seeing things growing, and it's a really good time to think about nature. So I'm going to leave you with your task today. I hope you enjoy it. It's a little bit different, like I said, and hopefully we'll get to see some of your end results. So have a good day, and we shall see you soon. Bye.